And it's interesting you mentioned Northeast Seattle. I guess it's called NEST, Northeast Seattle Together Village. They have an interesting website that folks might want to check out, and just type in Northeast Seattle Together. And on that website they have a really interesting video that really allows the seniors in that area to talk a little bit about some of their expectations for this village and what that might mean to them. And we really think that folks might be interested in looking at that clip right now. I think we have that.
Everything in my house is from someplace else. This organization, if it gets launched, is going to be exactly what I need for right now in my life. This is a painting from Somalia, and there is a mask from Peru. I think it is going to make it possible for me to stay in this house, which I love, for much longer than I would have otherwise. And it's very tranquil. And I finally, after all these years, got this vine maple to come and be a little shelter. And it isn't only my sense of security, it's that of my 3 very supportive children who are always available, but if you take into account that they have to drive for 2 hours to get to me. So knowing that a nest is there in the background gives them a sense of security. What we see here is a good old American kitchen that is sort of the receptacle of almost everything I like. I have people to help with the house once a month, and I have people to help in the garden once a month, but that doesn't take care of the day-by-day emergencies that might arise. I spend a lot of time in this room, I really do, and it's where I put everything that I really want to remember. It gives me a chance to meet people whom I might not have met otherwise, who were just in the neighborhood, but I had no connection to. And I love meeting the people I've already met at the 3 or 4 informational meetings I've gone to.
You have less opportunity to meet people and make friends. And you don't realize that as you grow older. You know, it's just kind of a shock to me almost that you don't have that. I'd have a hard time moving out of this house simply because of my almost 5-year-old twins and all their equipment. Oopsie, and they like to come to Grandma's house because she's got all this equipment. I've watched some people move out of the neighborhood and it hasn't been successful. I couldn't, if you moved into even a 1-bedroom apartment. So I wouldn't think my grandchildren would want to visit as much. I got out the price of moving into some of these assisted living places. I really couldn't afford it, but I think for a nominal amount of money, you could be assisted to stay in your own home. And then we've got the jumping room upstairs, which is if you take the mattress off the springs, you can form a great big jumping place. So see, I couldn't move. I would love to belong to a group that would give you the support and enable you to get some of the services that you need.
Well, that's an organization that I've run across and have supported financially, and of course you'll need more financial support. It seems to be one of the things that has been developed throughout the country, one of the organizations, and apparently they have been successful in this type of situation. And my grandfather, who died in 1905, I never knew him, obviously. I met my grandmother once, my father's parents. It was in the Civil War for the North, and so I have some things. Well, these are things that, what would I do if I moved out of here? My father's a book collector. So I have many books and art and so forth. It's very difficult to leave all this, and over on the other side we have a complete collection of Theodore Roosevelt's books, and he was quite an author over the years. Many of my friends, neighbors have moved to seniors' homes, but they all wonder what to do with all their things, and I would wonder what to do with the 3,000 or 4,000 books that we have around here, plus the art and artifacts accumulated over the years from the family. That's my uncle. He was in the World War One Army. That would be the answer to me to be able to stay here and enjoy the neighborhood, which I've enjoyed for many, many years, and the schools, which I helped support: Laurelhurst Grade School, Roosevelt High School, and the University of Washington. There are many good causes, as we get one in the mail every day, but this is one we could actually use and see.
This one is more localized. It seems more manageable psychologically for me.
The older people, frankly, really need it.
It's positive in that it promotes and generates a feeling of community.
In fact, I've talked to a couple of friends, and they're kind of disappointed their area isn't included in it. So I think once if we got this going, it would take off in a lot of areas in Seattle.
That's the advantage of having meetings and seminars on the subject, because that's the way people will have to know about it and be impressed with it.
Because I think it is a very viable idea. It's not a pipe dream. It is proved viable in the model that Nest here is using.
It's going to be a legitimate organization. That's important that it gets established. And
I'll have Nest to call upon.
It would be an easy group to become a member of, a very comforting group. And at my age, you need comfort.
Rita, what are some of the problems that low-income seniors and boomers face? For example, I was doing a little research and I discovered that our aging agencies, which really cover in our area Thurston, Lewis, and Mason counties, the adjacent counties, there's a certain percentage of seniors and near seniors that are classified as low income. That's not a huge percentage in Thurston County. It may be 20 or 25%, which is still high. It's much higher in Mason and Lewis counties. So we have a certain segment of our senior population, even in spite of the social network, that is considered low income. And another thing that I've noticed is that a lot of people now are talking about that social network, Social Security, Medicaid, Medicare. I was surprised when I discovered that 22% of all people receiving retirement benefits only get Social Security, and that the average monthly payout for that is $995. Another surprising statistic that folks might be interested in is that 67% of all retirees who get more than one benefit, the larger of the two is the Social Security benefit. So this social network is very important to folks, and even with that, there are a number of lower income seniors. So what are some of their problems that they're facing here in Thurston, Mason, and Lewis counties?
Well, for low-income seniors, the problem is making ends meet. When you have a limited income, then gas prices going up, food prices going up, those really impact seniors. Mm-hmm. So we do have agencies here that will help low-income consumers. And one is the Area Agency on Aging, and as you mentioned, that's for Lewis, Mason, and Thurston counties. And they will provide services such as case management. When a senior starts having difficulty, they can contact the Area Agency on Aging mm-hmm. to get assistance in terms of what kind of services are available.